And then they gave us some action, and then some more action, and then some more action. When they ran out of that action, they gave us some recycled action from old Star Wars movies. Then they hit us off with a little bit more action, and then completed with a giant wave of action. Was the episode good? Hello and welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis, my review of Season 3, Episode 8, it's Chapter 24, of The Mandalorian, the finale of this season. It finally comes head-to-head as we finally get to see what characters such as Grogu, Bo-Katan, Mando, and of course the infamous Moff Gideon. It comes to a final and complete showdown. Now, what ultimately happened was I think that this episode suffered, not just from me, but probably from the whole internet, from having too much expectations. And I'll tell you what, is it my fault that I had too high expectations for this episode? The actual answer is absolutely not. And I'll tell you, it is because they had a season where they hinted that the armor was evil. Was it explained? No, it didn't go there. They hinted that she was the second spy in the episode, The Spies. Did that go anywhere? Not so much. Did the actual episode about Dr. Pershing and Elia Kane actually lead to anything significant? Well, absolutely not. Actually, every setup and every entanglement that we were expecting to come to a dramatic conclusion was completely brushed aside for, if I hadn't mentioned yet, action. Now, before I get into the real nitty and the gritty, I would love it if you like this video, subscribe to this channel, ring that notification bell, and keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis for more Star Wars analysis and reviews. So, they didn't give us anything that we were expecting. What else might bring us to the conclusion that great expectations were happening here? Well, is it possible that Season 2's finale literally had the return of Luke Skywalker, being the greatest scene Luke Skywalker has ever been in, where he's slaughtering dark troopers, which were something taken out of the EU, which we thought was no longer canon. Then we actually had Moff Gideon being defeated in a cool melee battle. Drama between Bo-Katan and Mando when they realized that because of the nature of the Darksaber, they can't be friends anymore. And then we had this tearful, horrible, emotional moment where little Baby Yoda has to go with Luke Skywalker, and Mando takes off his helmet and tears up, and all of America, no, the world, teared up along with him. So for me to have expectations for a Mandalorian finale, it's not my fault. It is the creator's fault. I don't have much to say about this episode because it was just waves and waves of action. Trust me, I love action, don't get me wrong. I just think action is something that should be sprinkled around throughout the season or the movie in question. And I want more revelations. Now, I had crazy predictions for this episode. I thought that it was possible that the armorer worked for Kira. That's right, Kira of the Red Sun Syndicate fame, or Darth Maul himself, if he somehow survives. I know you're wondering, how could he possibly survive? He has survived 50 other murders. I'm sure he can do it again. I thought actually Elia Kane would come into an important situation, or they would have an end credit scene that would bring us to somewhere similar to the way they introduced the Boba Fett series, and we got absolutely none of it. Did the mustache twirling Moff Gideon, who by the way wasn't always like that, he was nuanced back in the day, was he brought to justice and defeated? Yes, he was. Does Mando, for some strange reason, instead of staying on Mandalore, retire to farmlands with Grogu by themselves? Yeah, they did. Which, by the way, if that's the end of The Mandalorian, that is a cringe ending. Did they have anyone die, whether it be Mando or Bo-Katan? No, they did not even go to that place. They didn't have the, shall we say, chutzpah to do it. And that I will forever not forgive them for. Does it sound like I hate the episode? No, I don't hate the episode. Once again, it was mid. This falls to the problem of having too much action involved in it. I don't really know what they were going for. I think it's really possible that they tried their best not to have a plot this season. It's almost like the writers ran out of things to say or do with the show. This cannot be the end of The Mandalorian. Even though I sound like I'm disparaging, I really need a season 4. I absolutely need a season 4. I just want the writing to get more tighter, and honestly, they need to heal some bridges. Now, I'm about to talk about some pseudo-political stuff. I hope this doesn't offend anybody. But I really do think that they need to fix whatever issues they have with Pedro Pascal. A lot say that he's not doing his best on the show because he's just doing voiceover work because he's doing The Last of Us. It's possible. Totally makes sense. Checks out. But they need to get him in there, and they need to have helmet off scenes with him. And honestly, to bring this show around, they may even need Gina Carano back. Once again, politically, I'm sorry if you have issues with that, but I'm here to be entertained. I don't care about people's politics. Just get the girl back in her armor suit with her heavy weapons and give us some Cara Dune. That's what we need. And so this season was missing all sorts of things. It wasn't just missing Cara Dune, although she was an important ingredient to not have in the mix, but it had other problems, like not focusing on Din or Grogu. Ultimately, I cannot recommend this episode. However, the 2 first seasons are such strong connections to me, I can't give up on this show. I have to give it another shot, so I cannot write it off. But I have to just say, this episode at best can be described as lackluster. But the real question is, what did you give this season? Am I overreacting? Did you feel that the storyline did actually come into a conclusion? Did you feel like everything happening with the Darksaber was just super weak sauce? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, keep hitting me up, man. It is only because of listening audience like you that I'm able to do these wonderful videos. Until next time, may the Force be with you.